and welcome to this preview episode of FNS Wrestling. I will be your host, along with my co-host, my almost teenage son, Jackson. Say hello, Jackson.
What's up?
So we are hoping to bring you a podcast which has a combination of a couple different generations and their opinion on the current product of wrestling. A little background on myself. I am in my 40s, correct?
Yep.
And I've been watching wrestling since I was probably about 8 years old, I think. My first vivid memory of wrestling was going to a friend's and watching, Jackson told me it was WrestleMania 2, yes?
Yep.
With Hogan and Bundy in the steel cage. So from there on, I was a wrestling fan. None of my friends were. No one in my family was. So I've just sort of always privately watched it myself. I did take a couple breaks during my wrestling fandom. I was at a friend's watching the Owen Hart Death live, so I took a brief break after that, and then following the Benoit incidents we're all too familiar with, I took a little time away then as well. I consume a ton of wrestling media. I read things, I listen to podcasts, I used to watch ROH, I've watched Impact, we've watched indie shows, I've watched Ring of Honor, I already said that, New Japan. Pretty much anything we can consume, we will. And so, Jackson, how did you get into this world of wrestling?
So I accidentally discovered him watching wrestling, and I've seen him play saw him play the 2K a few times as well. And so then I started watching just before WrestleMania 32, because that was the first pay-per-view I watched. And yeah, that wasn't the best pay-per-view, but it's definitely going to be a nostalgic one for me. But yeah, as a wrestling fan, I guess, just like a lot of people, I would presume, I started out just I would say innocent, just
very much
loving wrestling, and then now I'm more like a wrestling nerd type of fan. And yeah, so like Dad said, we've been to many wrestling events, watched a ton of different stuff. Currently not really into the main roster because it's, one, not interesting, and two, a lot of people are testing positive for COVID. That's not great. So usually just watching AEW and doing our best to watch NXT.
Yes, empty arena wrestling has not been our favorite. We have sort of gone from, I was surprised he was hardcore watching everything main roster, to now we watched half of Raw last night. So yes, our viewing habits right now are very much AEW is appointment viewing, and then we also try to watch NXT. So our thought for this program would be maybe a weekly podcast where we will definitely in-depth look at AEW Dynamite and NXT, and then also just sort of talk about any other wrestling issues that have come up that week. Depending what we've also watched, we may watch some retro shows, we may watch some current main roster if it starts to get a little bit more appealing. So the bottom line is you've got two very die-hard wrestling fans of different generations who are just going to come together every week and have a brief conversation about things. And in terms of our technical abilities, this is all very brand new for us. I was literally looking up how to record, how to do all of these things today. I spent most of my morning frustratedly trying to get this accomplished. Yes. So I think what we'll be doing is recording it and then briefly editing it maybe and putting it up on YouTube for people. We will have a YouTube page at FNS Wrestling. And Jackson, what else are you? Since I don't have any social media, that will be to the younger here. What are you plans?
Yeah. So I just made an Instagram account, so go ahead and follow that, FNS_wrestling_podcast. And hopefully, I hope to do on the podcast every week, maybe just for you action figure fans, just a brief roundup on what's over on Ringside Collectibles, just what's up for pre-order, what's just in stock, all that stuff. So if you're into that, stay tuned for that as well.
Yes, Jackson is a very big fan of wrestling figures, so we will try and work in a little segment weekly where he can sort of update anyone else that's a figure fan on what's coming out, what's cool, what he's recently purchased, that sort of thing. I also haven't told Jack this, but another segment I plan on introducing is Off the Top of His Head, I think we'll call it. And basically, this kid is an encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge, so without any sort of preview. So, for example, are you ready for the first one now?
Okay.
So he has no idea I'm going to do this or ask this question. This is the depth of his knowledge. I'll start him off easy, okay? So can you please tell me every NXT champion in order from the beginning?
Ooh, okay.
Ready? Go.
Seth Rollins, Big E, Bo Dallas, Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby Roode, Drew McIntyre, Andrade, Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa, then he vacated, then Johnny Gargano, then Adam Cole, and now Keith Lee.
I'm not going to fact check that. If anyone else would like to, I'm pretty sure he is correct. He loves this business and he has an insane memory for it. So that will also be on display during some of our podcasts. I'll try and think of questions that you'll be probably surprised the length of his response and his memory. So I think we'll wrap it up there with just a little brief preview of This Is Us. This is kind of how we talk back and forth to each other. We have no idea what we're doing, either podcasting or on the technical side, so you can sort of witness us learning on the fly. But we are really looking to enjoy this. The pandemic's just given us some time together, and we need to switch it up and do something. This is something I've always wanted to do, but never really have tried yet because I needed a co-host. So since literally nobody I know watches wrestling or talks about wrestling, I had to raise my own wrestling nerd. So we're going to talk about things together. So anyways, we look forward to any listeners at all. And again, you can contact us on the website, the email, or on YouTube or on Instagram. We also, I don't think we went over the email address, did we? No. We have FNSwrestling@gmail.com. So any of those ways, feel free to contact us and look for us to put out another podcast soon. Jackson?
And don't forget, the Instagram is FNS_wrestling_podcast.
All right, so thank you for your time, and we look forward to interacting with some of you in the future. Have a great week.